Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. And before I get into today's video, I just want to take a moment and appreciate everyone that's been participating over on my shorts with the guessing games. One of them was Guess This Movie and Who Said It, which was Grandpa Art from Christmas Vacation. And here are the people that participated and with the right guesses. And the other video was Can You Guess My Next Look based upon the photo? And there were a lot of good answers, a lot of correct answers. And here are the people that participated with the right answer. I appreciate you guys coming over to the channel, hanging out with me. It's been really fun to get to know you all, and you guys are hilarious. You crack me up every day. And I do appreciate every one of you that comment on my videos. So in today's video, I'm revisiting an old look. I did this look. This is the second look I ever created. As you see here, it's the Trypophobia look. This is using my own scar wax, and if you want to figure out how to do that, save money, and have your scar wax go a long way and be more versatile for the things you need, you just click this link up here. It'll take you to the tutorial. It's not a long one. It's about 7 minutes. And I hope you guys hang out with me and enjoy the fact that this is going to get really gory, really nasty. So hang out with me and let's just get into the footage. Before we get into the application of the makeup today, we need to make maggots, and I'm using liquid latex in the end of a stick to make circles, several different sizes, and I always make more than what I need for future looks. After about an hour and these have dried, I peel the edge off and roll them until they look like a little worm, and about 30 minutes to an hour these will dry depending on how thick you made them. Using flour, I gave them a light dusting because they are still sticky, and I roll them around in the flour until the tackiness goes away. Today I'm using a water-based paint to dip these little worms into the tip, just one side, because if you ever take a look at reference photos, maggots do have a dark tip when they come up out of the hole, and here is a plate of maggots. I am using witch hazel and alcohol to clean up and make sure that my skin is free of makeup and oils. I will be using liquid latex to place my scar wax onto the face, but before I do that, I need to protect my hairline and any other hair that's going to be close to the latex. Going in with my liquid latex and my scar wax, I pour just a little bit onto a pan, and I'm using a sponge for application and spatulas to smooth out the wax, and a little bit of powder to dust the wax so it doesn't look wet. I just tap in and I go through and I can see the area that I cleaned off with the alcohol and the witch hazel, and I place down the area that I'm going to smooth this wax completely out, not just the ball of wax that you place down. You need to have your adhesive in the area that you're going to smooth the wax out into. Taking a spatula, I get a little bit of scar wax onto my tool, and I take my fingers and I either dip them into lotion or some oil, so when I'm moving that scar wax around it does not stick to my fingers. Being sure that the latex is tacky, I press the ball of wax into the skin and I begin to tap that out with my fingers. And every tool I use to go through the scar wax needs to be lubricated, and today I'm using Vaseline so I can smooth that out for a seamless transition between the scar wax and the skin. You will need to dip your tools into the Vaseline or the oils that you're using several times. As long as you feel the drag start to pull on the wax, you need to re-dip your tools so they glide along the scar wax. I continue on with the liquid latex into the areas that I cleaned with the witch hazel and the alcohol. And if you want a better staying power, liquid latex is not technically an adhesive, but it will work in situations where you're not going to be wearing your makeup look for a very long time, I would recommend Spirit Gum or Pros-Aide in order to help you get that scar wax to stay for a longer period of time. But I chose today to use a bottle of liquid latex that I had that's getting kind of old, and I didn't want to waste the Pros-Aide or any other material. So today I'm using up a lot of products that need to be used up before they go bad. I continue on with the process of putting the scar wax onto the face, making sure that my tools are lubricated, and I get that pushed into the skin for a seamless transition. To color the edges of the scar wax so it looks a little bit more like the color of my skin, I'm using my Canon Warm Beige palette, and I take my finger and I also use a sponge to tap around the edges of the scar wax. The next color I'm using in this look today is a grease paint that I picked up at Walmart during Halloween. I'm using a red and a gray, and I'm mixing those colors onto the back of my hand to create a purple. So if you don't have a bruised color wheel, you can create your own colors by mixing things together. And I'm using this color to tap irritation throughout the skin. I wanted this look to be more like a virus has taken over and that the skin is becoming dead and necrotic, and I wanted to make it really gross and nasty, and that's why I picked the Trypophobia look to do with Maggots and Puss. I continue to tap this color throughout the look. I tap and I also use my finger to smooth out edges and get rid of harsh lines. And I just gently go over the scar wax itself, some of the areas in the center, a lot of areas around the eyes, the nose, the forehead, just a little bit of color, not so much pinks and purples. I didn't use this one for a very long time because this is going to be more, like I said, of a virus look, and I'm leaving that mostly to the blues, the greens, and the yellow tones for this look today. But adding this purple will give it more of a dimension. And using alcohol palettes today to color the rest of this look, and I picked up some jewelry beads at Michael's, and I'm using those for some of the Trypophobia holes because they are going to be filled with maggots, because you see the maggots later on come out into the face. So I have some holes that are sunken in and some holes that are filled with these beads. Keeping the center of the holes darker and letting the color go lighter on the outside. In cell growth, we have cells that start out small that grow bigger, and those cells get pushed out to the edges. So in my idea for this look, that these cells are darker because the maggots have not matured. So the maggots that have matured are out toward the center a little bit more. So that is my reasoning for placing the darker holes into the center. And plus also the scar wax is thicker in the center, and when you color it, or if you just push a hole into it, it's going to look darker on its own by default. And here you see me using the back of brushes, and I make sure that those are lubricated. I go back and forth between powder and Vaseline, and I push that into the scar wax with a twist. You're going to want to work very slowly as to not pull the scar wax out, but as long as you keep your tools lubricated, you should be able to push that into the wax. No matter how thick the wax is, twist it till you feel it hit your skin, and then twist it when you come back out. I give a slight powder over the area to make sure I am not overloading this look in the scar wax with oils, because it has oil in it. It's made of Vaseline, so some of that oil will come out naturally on its own, and then also the tools that you use will have oil or Vaseline on them. So I just go through when it starts to look a little too shiny, just give that a quick powder. Continuing to place holes randomly throughout the scar wax, making sure those tools are lubricated. And also, my scar wax and my formula is forgiving if you make mistakes. So if you place a hole that looks different from the other ones, or you want a different size, you've changed your mind, it's easy to correct it and start over, just smoothing it back out with a spatula. Did you know that trypophobia is a fear of clusters and small holes that are in clusters, and it occurs randomly throughout nature, but it's extremely creepy and becomes a phobia, I think more so when it's embedded to the skin. Now, I did not have a problem with these jewelry beads staying into my scar wax, but if you are using another product, I'm not sure what you're using, it would be beneficial to put just a little bit of adhesive into the hole to make sure that it stays in place. But I didn't have a problem in this case. I am using alcohol paints today, going back and forth between the yellow and the green to mimic infection. And the reason I picked the alcohol paints to use today is because you can get a bleed and a wash of color without dragging anything into the scar wax, so you don't mess up the integrity of the work that you've already done. Now I go back and forth with several different colors in this palette. I have the green and the yellow mix for infection, and I tap that onto the scar wax itself. I move that color through the holes and over on to the beads, and also I go back in with some red, and just for irritation and a dimension, make sure that I get several different colors so it's not flat looking. I mixed in a little black with my yellow and green just to give those holes a deeper look to them. And taking some scissors, I want to reuse a sponge, so I just cut off the cream paint at the end. And this is how I make a stippling sponge for myself. I take some tweezers and I go through and I begin to poke and punch portions of this foam out of the sponge, making sure that I get rid of any harsh edges and corners. I go through and I tap the yellow and the green all over the face, and just to be mindful to make sure you carry this all the way down through the neck area depending on what shirt you might be wearing in your look. I am adding red to this look to give it more dimension and to give it more of an infection look. So if you wanted to stop right here, you have a true trypophobia look. But today I wanted to do a massive infection. I wanted to use maggots and pus. Plus I also wanted to see how many times I could say maggots and pus and not bust out laughing. I don't know. Did I do a good job? You guys let me know. Using a light blue, I go through and I place veins around throughout the skin, keeping it more concentrated around the eyes, coming into the face, and around the neck. I just thought this added a little bit more dimension, and especially to make it look like it was a virus that had taken over. It is time for the maggots. Here's my cup of maggots. And I'm using tweezers, and I'm going to use the leftover liquid latex that was poured to push those in to the holes, and I randomly go throughout and I switch out shapes and sizes. This is up to you. This is how you want your look to be. I wanted some of the maggots to lay over some of the holes. I wanted them to come up off the scar wax from the seam of the scar wax onto the skin itself. So this is just your choice. Have fun, make it as gross as you want, and soon I'll be adding and mixing pus to show you how to get that desired look with very few products. Are you freaked out by trypophobia? Is there anyone out there that just really hates to see this? Do you stay away from things like strawberries and other fruits that have seeds that are in clusters. So let me know, does it freak you out? What is it that makes it so gross to you? Let me know in the comments below. It'd be fun to chit chat with everyone. In order for my look to be cohesive, I make sure to carry the colors from my face and my neck onto my hands and my arms. For the puss today, I'm using a clear hair gel, and I'm mixing in food coloring of yellow and green. Now, infection can run cloudy and white, it can run green and yellow, and it has different consistencies. So what I chose to do was use a thicker puss because I figured these holes were deep into the skin. It's growing a maggot, and I thought it would just look a lot better if it would drain and drip up out of these holes and be really thick. As I continue to mix my color, I add a little bit of white paint to it to lighten it up, and once I have my color, I go back through and I add a consistency of something thicker, and I use Vaseline. Now you can use several different things for this. If you wanted to make that not slide down off the face, you could use Elmer's glue. It will coagulate. It's another formula that you can also put into blood that you make for clots. So keep that in mind. If you play with textures and find out what works, you can also put in tissue paper and cotton for this. If you really want pus pockets to stay on the face and in certain areas, it's just up to you and what you want it to do. So today I chose to leave my pus thick but yet runny. And again, I said pus and maggots and pus and maggots. I'm giving you pus and maggots, people. Come on. So take your time and randomly put your pus throughout this look. I had it also drip and drain onto the skin itself, so I kept it more moving, more fluid in the look of the pus. And so more pus, please. Since the pus mixture did cover up some of the holes, I go back through with a little bit of black just to make those more visible. And just play with colors and have fun with this. This is to gross everyone out. If you're going to be doing this look, I would love to see people's reactions to what you've done. So please make sure to hit me up and let me know if you're going to be doing this look. Tag me in your looks. I would love to see everything that you guys come up with. And I hope you have fun when you see me do this. I hope you see that I have some trial and error when I do my looks too. So don't get discouraged. Keep on doing it. When you find things that work from you, it will just go a lot more smoothly. But you have to play and you have to do things and try different things to see what you like the best. And it's really up to you. I went through and I mixed up a little bit of hair gel with yellow and red to give it a little bit more dimension, and I tapped in oil onto the face to make it look a little bit more infected. Here is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today. Let me know if trypophobia is something that freaks you out. What are some of your other phobias? Maybe let me know in the comments below, and I would love to play upon your fears. That's what I'm here for. If you would like to see sneak peeks behind the scenes, guess my next look, or vote on my next look, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Those links are below. If you enjoyed this tutorial today, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And please share this video and freak out your friends. I would love to see their reaction. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.